The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your host, Jason Beck, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah. Good morning, you guys. It is Friday, January 30th. And today, oh man, today is a National Escape Day.
Escape from what?
Yeah, that's the question, right?
Oh man, you guys.
Is this about like escape rooms?
I don't think this is about escape rooms. I think this is about like going on vacation kind of thing. Let me pull it up for you guys. National Escape Day, because it has a picture like of a spa with candles and a bathtub.
Okay.
You know, each year on January 30th, we take a much-needed break to celebrate National Escape Day. This day isn't about running away from our responsibilities. It's a day about making time to reset ourselves after the winter holidays and cold stretch of January. By late January, the magic of Christmas and Hanukkah have faded, and our New Year celebrations are packed away until next year. The weather is dreary with cold winds and minimal sunshine, and February is fast approaching, and we suddenly feel like we are in a slump. Let's face it, we are burnt out. Luckily, National Escape Day has arrived at the perfect time to push us to refocus, reset, rejuvenate our mind and body for the last stretch. Mind and body for the last stretch before spring.
Okay, well, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys next week.
National Escape Day. Mm-hmm. Sounds like another one of those made-up holidays, and it's not even a Hallmark holiday, you guys. But nonetheless, today is also National, Jesse, you'll love this, it's National Fun at Work Day.
I have that every day.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't need a national day for that.
Well, there is one, just in case, you know what I'm saying? Just in case you ever did need one.
That.
I'm sure, I'm sure a lot of people need that. There's a lot of need there. You know what I mean?
You know what I have fun doing at work? This place being work is deleting the troll.
Oh God, stop it, bro. Leave the trolls alone, bro. They just want to eat. You know what I'm saying? Just let them eat, bro. Just let them eat.
Yeah, he wants to eat our time and attention.
Is it our favorite High at 9 troll?
Yeah, I wish I could know this guy. Like, the amount of email accounts that this person has started to create new YouTube accounts to come in here is astounding.
Who's got the time to do that?
That's what I'm saying. Like last week, he did 11 new accounts on one day. It's unbelievable.
And he's a job.
But I have fun deleting him. It's super fun because now I know and he does the same pattern. He says hi first every time, and he always has a weird name, and he has our stuff in his profile picture. So funny.
Well, it's also National Big Wig Day.
Big wig.
I feel like that should be about me today.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's your day.
But I have a feeling
You're the
that
High at 9 bigwig.
I have a feeling that it's not. It's about like actual wigs. Yeah, it's about.
Yeah,
wigs.
you don't wear a wig, do you, JB?
No, I didn't. No, I do not wear a wig. This is amazing
I didn't
hair.
think you did.
With hair like this, do you think I need a wig, Dr. Mark?
I thought you were outing yourself.
No, silly. You guys are silly. National
Big
Wig
he's
Day.
revealing today. That's the wig.
I guess this
Ask
is
Dr. T if he's got a wig.
no. This is Wendy.
I've got dreads, but
Yeah.
no
He's
wig.
got dread. See, you can't see it. He just looks just like a regular guy until he turns his head, right?
Yeah, we got a big echo going on. It's like we're in the Grand Canyon going on today, you guys.
I don't hear that.
Oh, I do. It's all good. You guys, you know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
But I guess it's Wendy Williams Day, right?
Wendy Williams.
Yeah,
Day.
she always wears wigs.
Ah.
Mhm.
Is that Jason? Is the echo better?
Oh, a little bit. I think it's all right. But throw one in the chat if the echo is, you know what I'm saying?
Tell us if.
Yeah,
I think it might
let
be
us
me.
know. Yeah. Let's see.
I'll mute
Yeah.
myself.
Let's see. It's also National. This is one of my favorites. This is one of my weaknesses, you guys, just so you know. One of my weaknesses. National Croissant Day. I love a good croissant.
Oh, a real one is awesome.
Yes.
If you touch it and it explodes, it's
that flaky goodness, bro. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
And I prefer buttered croissants. I know a lot of people like to have these like half dipped chocolate croissants, but I think that's just kind of stupid.
That's not true.
It's pretty. I think those are kind of lame, personally. But you know, I like a good.
They frown on those in France, where they're from.
I've seen a lot of them for sale out in Europe, actually, Jesse.
No, they do it. They do it because Americans demand it, so they do it. But that's the bakers of those products. They're not excited about it. They frown on it. They're like, okay, whatever. You don't know. What you're talking about.
I just feel like if you're gonna dip half of the croissant in there, you should be dipping the whole croissant in there and just have a chocolate dipped croissant.
That would be so awesome.
It's like they half step with all this. It's like come on, like you know what I'm saying? Or if anything, if they put like a chocolate filling inside, you know what I'm saying? You know, like a home run pie kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? That would.
All I know is that if it's good,
good.
You're gonna make a serious mess eating that thing. And there's no way around it.
That would be so good, bro. Oh my goodness, if they did that, that would be great.
That would be great.
But on the outside,
it definitely wouldn't be in a croissant.
But in the outside, it's just stupid. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
People need to stop that. Anyways, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high at noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, as well as on our very own website, www.highat9news.com. So welcome to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. And we're going to start off the day, doctors, with some propaganda. All right, I hope you guys get ready, because a new UW study links cannabis users with psychotic disorders to higher rates of health problems. It's total gaslighting, you guys. A new study of cannabis users in Washington state, Jesse, is shedding light on a wider range of health problems for some users than previously documented. The University of Washington study found that cannabis users with psychotic disorders like schizophrenia report higher rates of physical ailments such as nausea, dizziness, and heart problems, which they attribute to cannabis use. First of all, why, if you have schizophrenia, why are you smoking cannabis? You're already nuts. Okay? There's no need for it. All right? It's just totally ridiculous. And the fact that they're saying that they have higher rates of these different things, I think is their own schizophrenia, paranoia kicking in that they actually have these things. Okay? I'm going to get off my soapbox and continue the story. In a quote.
Wait, do you want to hear why schizophrenics use cannabis? Because I have a few schizophrenics who use cannabis as patients.
Okay, well, hold on. We'll go straight to you, Dr. T, so you can go into why schizophreniacs need cannabis, and maybe they should just have like a CBD tincture or something, Dr. T, instead of I don't know, but you're the doctor. In a quote, They experience cannabis hypermesis syndrome, which is the syndrome that makes people vomit and have a lot of pain and nausea, said Bharat Karlani, one of the researchers behind the study. Karlani and several other University of Washington researchers analyzed the survey responses of 4,144 cannabis users in Washington between 2020 and 2023. And she said survey respondents also highlighted mental health symptoms. In a quote, cannabis users with psychotic disorders have more hallucinations. They have more problems with panic attacks and problems of mental health in general. Carlini said, well, I think they just have those problems in general. And I don't think it's the cannabis, but whatever. Almost 18% of cannabis users with psychotic disorders reported experiencing hallucinations or psychotic episodes over the previous year. And that number dropped to about 3% of cannabis users without any mental health diagnoses. When it comes to physical symptoms, almost 21% of study participants reported experiencing nausea and vomiting connected to their cannabis use, and about 5% of users with no mental health diagnoses experienced the same symptoms. Data for the study was collected directly from online survey responses filled out by study participants instead of medical records or documentation from physicians. And Carlini says there are both benefits and drawbacks to this kind of data collection, but this method helped researchers connect with a wider, more general array of users. In a quote, the upside of having data from surveys is that you make it not about people that are going for help, looking for clinical help, Carlini said, but you are talking about a population base and what is happening in the community, even if these people never saw a doctor. To understand the full complexity behind cannabis effects on uses, Carlini believes more work will need to be done to diversify data. You need to ask the people being treated. You need to ask doctors. You need to look at medical records, Carlini said. But the information Carlini and her fellow researchers have compiled is a start, and enough to serve as a springboard for other research projects. Carlini and other authors behind the study have created an online guide to help behavioral health clinicians talk about the potential effects of cannabis use with their patients, and the researchers also recommended placing warning labels on cannabis products geared toward users with mental health diagnoses like psychotic disorders. I would actually support that part, but I can't wait. Go ahead, Dr. T. What do you have to say about this and these crazies wanting to use cannabis with their crazy episodes? Because this story is crazy to me. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Dr. T. You're on mute.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep.
I guess we're all a bit crazy, right?
Well, I'm the good kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying, Dr. T? I'm sane in the brain, but I push things above and beyond.
And if we were gathering data on your behavior, this would be self-reported behavior, which is great information, I think. But some people argue that assessing whether you're crazy or not should be left to the doctor. Anyway, people for various reasons, schizophrenics use cannabis. Sometimes it makes them relax, because their hallucinations can sometimes be frightening or bothersome, and so it's an anti-anxiety for when they are having the hallucinations. As one schizophrenic told me, he had more realization with cannabis, meaning instead of freaking out that he was having these hallucinations, he would just say, "Oh, I'm having a hallucination," and just be relaxed about it. So Other schizophrenics use it because their antipsychotic medications cause bothersome side effects, and so they use the cannabis to tolerate the side effects.
Interesting. The side effects. The side effects of schizophrenia, of being crazy, they use the weed to not make them crazy.
The side effects of the drugs they're taking for schizophrenia.
Got it. Okay, I can understand that. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. You know, but why wouldn't they just take like some type of a tincture or something instead of, I mean, to me, it sounds like these are all smokers, how this study is done. And I also have one other question because of how they did this study, how they just allowed people to basically, they just like, sounds like they just texted them or emailed them a form and they filled it out and whatnot. And then they collected the data. I wonder how many Project Sam signature gatherers participated in this study of people who are just gaslighting and lying to create this this data set. I'm willing to bet that there's a decent sized portion of people that are just straight prohibitionists that are like, oh yeah, I'm going to click this box, I'm going to click this box, I'm going to click this box because that's the narrative I want to create.
Could be. I mean, depends. I think you always have to question the validity of the data, and finding out how they collected it could answer that question for you.
I want to know how they found these people. If they found them at some homeless encampment, or if they found them.
What did Deep Throat say?
Often it's online, but I would think that it may be difficult to get a lot of schizophrenics to respond online.
What did Deep Throat say?
Deep Throat? Where's Deep Throat?
What did Deep Throat say? What's Deep Throat's famous quote?
I don't know.
Really?
I have no clue. Deep Throat, I don't even know who you're talking about. Like, if it was me saying Deep Throat, we'd be talking about a totally different thing.
Do you not watch All the President's Men? Deep Throat is the informant, the Watergate informant.
Ah!
Deep Throat's quote is follow the money.
It's all about following the money. That is true.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's look at what motivates this author, Beatrice Carlini, Professor Carlini.
Mm-hmm.
Not a doctor, not even a psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she's in she's associate professor in the psychiatry department.
Mm-hmm.
She's a social scientist. She got her PhD in social psychology. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She studies addiction. Is funded to study addiction. Well, go figure that this is what she comes up with in her paper.
Yep.
What she comes up with in her paper is going to be put into another grant application in NIDA so she could continue at the feeding trough to show that cannabis has got all of these harms because that's where she makes her career.
Yep.
She makes her career being the mouthpiece of people like Kevin Sabat because she is funded to basically show all the problems. Not a doctor, not a medical doctor, not like John. Doesn't see patients. She's a professor in the Department of Psychiatry. But like I said, her PhD is in social psychology. Her areas of interest are access to healthcare, addiction, psychiatry, psychology, adolescent/young adult, community mental health, and then a bunch of other things.
So, Dr. Mark, I guess this story is a total psyop then.
Well, I'm John, I think you agree. I mean, this woman is again writing something to basically prove more stuff about cannabis's association with these types of, neurological disorders. I think it's very naive to think that the endocannabinoid system has nothing to do with psychosis and some of these more crazier orders, right? Jean, am I speaking out of turn?
No, you're right on. Yeah.
So the endocannabinoid system is involved. And so what we don't know is that, again, people's genetics, how people react to consumption of cannabinoids could certainly be vastly different depending on your, what they call endocannabinoid tone. Am I right, Jean? So the way that our body's receptors are basically interacting with those molecules. And certainly like a researcher like this needs to keep this kind of thing going so she can get more funding to fund more studies like this. And so follow the money.
Follow the money. Deep Throat.
I mean, the term in the literature is called spin bias. Sort of it's one of the biases. Yeah. where they choose to highlight certain facts and not others because like Mark says, for the money.
Yep.
Follow the money.
Well,
Yeah, John, I'm not out of place here. Just because she's a social psychologist or social psychology is what she got her degree in. She's in a department of psychiatry now. A psychiatrist is a medical doctor, isn't that correct? A psychiatrist can prescribe medication.
Yes.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
So a psychiatrist goes through the same medical training that you had and other doctors have, right?
Mm-hmm.
But someone so again, her degree, and I'm not picking on her, but her degree is in social psychology. Is that a medical doctor? No.
Well,
right?
She have a PhD in psychology, in social psychology, or master's.
Here's the thing. So I guess my comment wasn't that far off, that there's probably a lot of validity, that probably a lot of these Project Sam signature gatherers participated in this study. And we did get a super chat from Samuel Sosby, who says, can the doctors explain neuroplasticity and how THC forms new neural connections?
That's John. Go ahead.
Well, I guess one way to understand it is that earlier we thought, you get a certain amount of brain cells, and when they die off, they don't change very much. But neuroplasticity measures a certain level of changing of your brain cells in response. For example, you might have a stroke, and rather than all the brain cells dying, they sort of regenerate and reform in a different way. So measuring your neuroplasticity. So in some ways, increasing your neuroplasticity would maybe protective for when you have potential injuries down the road, dementia, etc.
Fair enough. And on that, we're going to roll into our first commercial, and we are going to be right back.
Right?
The
yes.
AGI of the brain.
and we are back, you guys, and I have another interesting study for you guys. This one kind of gave me, I got a kick out of this one, you guys, because they say full spectrum CBD, Dr. T, extract, reduced meth, relapse-like behavior better than CBD alone. So now this makes me wonder too that if CBD toothpaste would be good for meth mouth, Dr. T. Just so you know, I'm questioning that now. A study published by the Journal of Progress in Neuropharmacology and Biological Psychiatry found that a full spectrum CBD extract reduced relapse-like methamphetamine seeking and meth triggered hyperactivity in an animal model better than CBD alone. Research from Marquette University and University of Sydney tested whether a multi-cannabinoid hemp extract could outperform a single cannabinoid CBD isolate in several established rat models used to study drug seeking and relapse. For the study, male Sprague Dawley rats were trained to self-administer methamphetamine by lever press and then underwent extinction sessions where lever presses no longer delivered the drug. After extinction, the animals were given a priming injection of methamphetamine to trigger reinstatement and a commonly used model of relapse-like behavior, and were pre-treated with either a CBD isolate dose of 80 milligrams per kilogram, a hemp extract containing 2.5 milligrams per kilogram of CBD plus, or other phytocannabinoids, or a combined condition where CBD was added to the hemp extract to match the 80 milligram per kilogram CBD dose. All CBD containing conditions reduced meth primed reinstatement, but the hemp extract and the CBD plus extract condition were more effective than CBD alone at suppressing relapse-like responding. The researchers also found these treatments reduced the expression of meth-induced synthesized hyperactivity, with the CBD plus extract condition showing some advantage over CBD or extract alone. To test whether the effect involved serotonin 1A receptors, the team co-administered the 5-HT1A antagonist, Way-100635, but it did not block the reductions in meth seeking, suggesting the mechanism was independent of the 5-HT1A activity under the conditions tested. To assess whether the cannabinoid products had intrinsic rewarding effects that could complicate their therapeutic potential, the team ran conditioned place preference testing. Neither CBD nor the hemp extract conditions produced place preference, and the treatments did not alter reacquisition of sucrose seeking in a separate control experiment, which the authors interpret as evidence the effects were relatively specific to meth-related behavior rather than general reward seeking. Overall, the findings suggest that CBD-enriched full-spectrum hemp extract may outperform CBD isolate in reducing relapse-like behavior in this animal model, though the authors note limitations such as the use of only male rats and the intraphenomenal dosing route. And that's all that it says right there. And you doctors, come please chime in, because there was a lot of studying going down. They only tested this on male rats, okay, which is also interesting, you know what I mean? But I don't really see why it would be different in female rats. But nonetheless, I don't know if male rats are. I would assume that male rats would be more violent than female rats. But you know, who knows? You know,
different,
I mean,
women have different biology than men.
Yeah,
I agree with it. Well, I was about to finish with saying, you know, but I do know that female octopuses strangle male octopuses if they bother them too much. So, you know what I mean? So who knows? You know?
We know. We're talking behavior. I mean, literally, there's different biology. And unfortunately, a lot of these animal studies are done on male rats because the biology of the female rats gets, quote unquote, too complicated. But what it does is it leaves us without information on half of the population, which is, you know, once again, one of those, it's kind of like saying voting should only happen, men should only vote.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that.
I know you're not,
yeah.
But it's you know, there's half the population that we're skipping from there.
Well, it's about, you know, quantitative thinking, Dr. T. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Definitely.
Problem solving, all of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, critical thinking, all that. You know, reaction as opposed to emotional reaction, all that type of stuff. You know, that's all. That's all.
But you know, this study is excellent in that it once again proves that multi-agent pharmacology is better than single-agent pharmacology. You know, and leading us into the future of therapeutics where we're using multiple agents, you know, with multiple molecular targets. I thought it was interesting that they saw that the serotonin receptor was not what was creating the effect. So it's going to be another molecular target. Very interesting.
Yeah, that HT1A receptor, right? That's what you're referring to?
Yeah, 5-HT1A.
Yeah. Dr. Mark, what do you think about this?
I think that humans who self-administer meth are rats.
Yeah. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. I'm not mad at that at all.
So, Dr. T, maybe you could break a little bit of this down. So methamphetamine, the molecule amphetamine, resembles several neurotransmitters that are in the body, like L-DOPA and epinephrine and those kinds of things. So, what do I mean to say here? So, could there be like a connection through the dopaminergic system that provides the addicted user with the pleasure aspect that feeds into the addiction? And how is that related to the endocannabinoid system? I know there's a lot of work that people have tried to show that, well, for opiates anyway, not necessarily for methamphetamine, that CBD and other cannabinoids can be replacements. But is there a school of knowledge on whether or not CBD and or cannabis or cannabinoids in general can be replacement for meth and the reward that the addicted user seeks when they use it?
Yeah, I don't know if they've studied it with meth yet. They might have studied it with opiates, but generally, a rule of thumb is THC creates the dopamine reaction, the reward reaction. CBD attenuates that reaction. And so it's kind of gas brake kind of scenario. So if you are addicted, you're getting too much dopamine reaction. And so CBD is probably the best thing for you to help curb your desire to keep using the substance.
So you think that would also work with meth if it also feeds the dopamine response in the brain? Yeah, probably, right?
Yes, all roads lead to dopamine. So yeah, you can. I mean, dopamine is how we operate, right? How we repeat activity, how we reinforce our activity, and so yeah, let's lead to dopamine.
Interesting. Well, apparently, CBD can help alleviate the methamphetamine problem in America. So shout out to CBD. Jesse, you have anything you want to throw in on this before we move on?
Yeah, I do actually. Both the doctors, especially you, Dr. Jean, you're familiar with Rat Park, right? I forget the scientist that did that. But are you familiar with that?
Skinner? You mean the psychology studies, B.F. Skinner? Those rat studies? There's been a lot of rat studies.
Well, the Rat Park is a famous one, and it's the guy that came up with our thoughts of addiction here. Bruce K. Alexander, that's right. I can never remember his name. But he did the experiments where the original addiction experiments with rats, where he would put rats in a cage and give them cocaine water and normal water and see which one they chose. And clearly they chose the cocaine water. And then he had an aha in the 70s, like 20 years later, where he decided to see if he put the rats in communal situations with lots of other rats in very large cages with lots of expansive fun stuff, wheels and tubes and everything, and run the same experiment. And it turned out that, and that's why it's called Rat Park. And it turned out that the rats would do cocaine for a short amount of time, and then they would get bored of it, and they would actually go want to be part of the community and live in the Rat Park more so. And so they would just kind of naturally stop doing it.
Interesting.
So he updated his thoughts on addiction, that addiction really was a result of feeling trapped, like actually being in a cage, and that people who feel free and have big expansive lives tend to not have any problems really with addiction. And I just bring that up because it's interesting. I wish that studies like this would integrate that into it to see what happens. Especially, I mean, it's cool to see CBD by itself make an impact, but I wonder if like cannabinoids combined with an expansive life would make it like universally so as well.
Yeah, you're bringing up a really interesting point, that it's more than just the chemicals that we're ingesting. It's our environment. And we always say with cannabis or with psychedelics, it's not just the drug, it's also the set and the setting.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're pointing out that the socialization was more rewarding to the rats than the cocaine was. And so they tended to choose the socialization if they had to make a choice.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's totally true. I mean, it seems to me that people who have expansive, wonderful lives don't really have addiction problems typically.
It's because they got too many great things going on, bro. Because we're
why waste your life on cocaine or meth when you've got great family, great work, great relationships, good community, fun stuff that you do in your life. That's just going to ruin it all. And
you know what? And for people that are not in that space, one of I think the best things that they can do to try to get into that space is to wake up and have their first thought of the day just be thankful for being here, and just start your day with that as a first initial thought. And that can be a powerful catalyst to get yourself out of the slump that you're in and into a more happy, healthier living environment, you know what I'm saying, mentally. And on that, we're gonna.
Wow, Jason, you're sounding like my hippie friends.
Maybe your hippie friends sound like me, Dr. T.
Hey, Jason's an old school hippie, man. You don't forget it.
Like it, huh?
I just, I'm a big believer in the thought of positive thinking. You know what I'm saying? And because you do project your own reality. And of course, I live in my own reality, which is freaking amazing. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the best in the world.
With the Pacific Ocean behind them.
It is. I'm gonna be out there this weekend. You know what I'm saying? Turning up. You know what I mean? Watching all these crazy lunatic protesters. Just can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm gonna be rocking my MAGA hat and watching all these wackos out there with purple hair and everything. But nonetheless, we're gonna roll right into Dr. Jean Talleyrand. He's the founder of the CESC and of Medican, where you can get your doctor's recommendation online all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even Christmas. It's a perfect Christmas gift, even though it's not Christmas. That's right. It is none other than Dr. Jean Talleyrand.
Much appreciated, Jason. Happy Friday, everyone. I do take time off, so don't call me on Christmas. My story today is from Normal. So this is an analysis. Aggregate, which is the study, so aggregate harms associated with use of alcohol, tobacco, far outweigh cannabis-related risks. The use of alcohol and tobacco causes far greater overall harms to both individual consumers and to society than does cannabis, according to a scientific analysis published in the Journal of Psychopharmacology. An international working group of experts assessed the aggregate harms associated with the use of 16 psychoactive substances, including alcohol, tobacco, cannabis, opioids, benzodiazepines, and methamphetamine. Substances were scored based upon the likelihood that their use causes specific harms for the user and or to others, such as risk of death, physical or mental health, damage, dependence, which I got bone to pick with that, economic loss, motor vehicle injuries, etc. So experts ranked alcohol as a substance associated with the greatest overall harm, followed by tobacco, non-prescription opioids, cocaine, and methamphetamine. The finding is consistent with those of other international expert panels. This one was done in Canada, including those conducted in Australia, the European Union, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, which all rank alcohol as the drug responsible for the greatest amount of overall harm, more than fentanyl. Similarly, a 2024 U.S. study published in the Journal of Studies on Alcohol and Drugs determined that the secondhand harms from others' alcohol use were substantially more prevalent than those from others' use of any other drug. A more recent evaluation in the United States, however, ranked fentanyl, methamphetamine, crack, and heroin above alcohol, so I question that result, in terms of potential harm. In a recent article, Chris Mayer, adjunct professor of philosophy at George Washington University, explains why cannabis should be less stringently regulated than alcohol or other drugs. Some anti-cannabis activists argue that cannabis should remain a Schedule I drug. A common objection to rescheduling is the assertion that 1 in 3 cannabis users develops an addiction, which stems from a large meta-analysis. A careful reading of that study reveals flaws in its conclusion. The researchers found that about 1/3 of heavy users, meaning those who use cannabis weekly or daily, suffered from dependence, which makes it less habit-forming than most recreational drugs, including alcohol, nicotine, and caffeine, none of which are scheduled under the Controlled Substances Act. If the 1 in 3 figure were accurate, then cannabis would be more addictive than alcohol, crack cocaine, and even heroin. This defies both common sense and well-established studies on the comparative risk of addiction. This brings up the issue of dependence. Dependence is a common trait we all have. In itself, dependence is not harmful. We are dependent on food and shelter. We are dependent on friends and family. Dependence sometimes leads to negative effects. However, it in itself is not negative. Dependence is like a tool that when used correctly can be beneficial and when used poorly can be detrimental. Cannabis use disorder as a medical diagnosis has been used as a weapon by prohibitionists using criteria that may more be an indication of dependence rather than addiction and harm. This study indicates that cannabis is not as harmful as alcohol, tobacco, and many other substances. However, cannabis is taxed and viewed as more harmful. So keep this study in your back pocket when you're out with friends and you light up and someone makes a comment about the harms of cannabis while holding an alcoholic beverage in their hand. Remind them that alcohol is the most harmful drug. What do you think? Is alcohol more harmful than cannabis? This is Dr. Jean Talleyrand with Nightline News.
Well, some people are crazy, Dr. T. Some of these people have schizophrenia and they think that the smell of weed is going to get them high. And then they're going to be crazier than they already are.
Crazy might be good.
Oh, boy. Jesse. Please, Jesse. Please save him, Jesse. Please save him.
I mean, we know the answer here.
I know
alcohol's terrible for you.
We know.
It's fun. I mean, I would freely admit that I like to drink alcohol on occasion, and I even enjoy having a couple more than I probably should. It's a fun feeling.
And not to mention, Dr. T is an advocate for the crossfade. Just saying.
He does not advocate.
He's advocate for the crossfade, 100%. He is. Yes, he's shaking his head up and down.
Okay. Sure, I'm sure. So, but I know I'm not stupid. I know that it comes at the expense of my health. I mean, alcohol has been proven time and time again to be extremely cancer causing. It causes all kinds of other problems. I mean, and the older you get, every time I drink even just a few drinks, I know that I'm running the risk of a hangover in the morning. And I don't even get that many hangovers are that bad. But the older I get, I'm starting to actually get them. And then you can't function the next day. So it lets you know right away.
You got to keep that tolerance built up, Jesse. You got to drink all the time and then you won't get like that. Right.
Yeah. You got to drink literally all the time. Yeah. So, and then, but the results of that, the results of that are not good. I mean, anybody who drinks literally all the time, literally they wake up and have their first beer before they even finish their shower. If you've ever known someone like that, their life is not great. So, and this kind of goes back to our addiction talk, when you're addicted to something like that and you can't stop and you're drinking to just stay normal, there are other things going on in your life. You're probably in a cage of some sort in other ways, whether it's in your mind from trauma in your past or from psychological problems, or you're in a terrible relationship or something is trapping you or making you feel trapped where you need to live that way. And and that's just not good. So
Caught
alcohol
in
is
the
terrible.
trap.
Alcohol, it's a bad thing. You know, always
I can't get out.
consider cannabis first.
Na,
You know?
na, 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 na. Dr. Mark, what do you think about all this? Have you ever been caught in a trap?
God.
I've been caught in some traps.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I like occasional scotch too, and you know, certainly, I think it's great that I think what RFK tried to say during his press release, which is that alcohol lubricates social interaction, which is good for humans because humans need to interact with other people, and I agree with that. And I was just at an open mic the other night, and I think I was wondering whether or not they were going to serve out. They have a restaurant there, they have a bar there. I was going to wonder if they were going to serve alcohol. Well, that was, again, as soon as I walked into the room, I knew they were serving alcohol because everybody was loud and yelling, and people were having a good time. So, in general, and I think this is kind of like what Jesse was saying, you know, humans like to gather, and when they gather, they like to, you know, hoist mugs of fermented beverage. Just part of what we do, part of who we are, right? I mean, we can't deny. I mean, Jesus served wine at the Last Supper.
Yeah, I mean, people love to cheers, you know what I'm saying, in celebration.
Yeah, but you know, I think
Jesus passed the joint before the Last Supper, right?
You know, you don't get the same effect when you don't get that clink of the glass. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's really the whole part of cheersing is hearing that clink, that camaraderie, that clink. Because when you like touch someone's joint with your other joint, it's kind of lame.
It's funny
use a glass pipe or a water pipe.
What's that?
You can use a glass pipe or a water pipe.
Yeah, but then like it's not, those kinds of things aren't really made for like mass public event consumption kind of thing, and they kind of like stink when you carry them around and stuff. They're better to just sit on your coffee table, in my opinion.
I just think it's kind of funny because, again, just going back to this experience I had at this open mic, you know, people were just getting hammered, just drinking. You know how open mics are. Usually people who are at the open mics are the performers, and they bring their families and their friends, and you know. But it's interesting that you had to smoke cigarettes and weed, I guess, outside, right? You can't do that inside. Now here it is on a cold Vermont night where it's like -5 degrees outside.
Oh man, that's cruel and unusual punishment.
Those cigarette smokers are outside smoking their cigarettes, staying out there, you know, as least as they can. But I also noticed that, you know, again, there are a couple people out there smoking weed. But yeah, it's just interesting how the whole social dynamic of alcohol consumption, because I'm sure they weren't serving alcohol. First of all, there wouldn't be that many people there. They wouldn't be having that good a time. And would there even be enough critical mass to have a couple smokers who are outside, you know, again, smoking? But yeah, I mean, I had nothing wrong with alcohol. I guess what I have wrong with is the fact that, you know, Mitch McConnell and his distillers,
Marijuana Mitch,
put that bullshit into the appropriations bill that nobody was going to lie down in front of, while the distributors who are putting THC into beverages want to see that thing take off like there's no tomorrow. So I think that's an interesting divide in the alcohol industry, right, between distillers and producers or distributors.
Very much so. But we got to go to our next commercial, and we're going to be right back.
Rescheduling cannabis, which was classified as more dangerous than fentanyl. Trump's action will destroy the cartel's illicit black market, expand medical research, and ensure seniors and veterans safely receive the care they need. Thank President Trump for delivering on another America First promise.
All right, stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it. And YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highatnightnews.com. Make sure that you're following us on X and Rumble as well, because those are the most stablest platforms in the metaverse. And also, too, we do want to dedicate this show, especially because it's a medical show or whatnot, to the life of Wayne Justman. He was my political consigliere in the beginning of cannabis and whatnot. He passed away this week, and so we do want to dedicate this show in his memory and all the episodes from this week. And much love to his family and everybody, and who will be missed, who is patient number 0.
Under President Trump, America is back. Trump's delivered the largest tax cut in history, putting more money in our pockets and restored America's economic dominance. Promises made, promises kept. Now it's time to fulfill another promise from President Trump and reschedule cannabis, which supports over 400,000 jobs and creates billions of dollars in economic growth. Reschedule cannabis and stack another win, Mr. President. America First Agriculture Action Inc. is responsible for the contents of this advertising.
Oh, and we are back.
Definitely.
And we are going to roll right in to Dr. Mark Scialdone. He's in the great Green Mountain state of Vermont, out there where they have pine trees and pine sol trees. You know what I'm saying? He loves to dab concentrates over there at St. Michael's University. And apparently...
No, not at college. Come on, man. You're getting in trouble.
And, of course, we all want to wish him a big good luck and everything, because he's submitting some important papers today. Yes, to the NIH, some grant papers to get some of that good old grant money that the federal government is going to be issuing out as soon as it moves to Schedule 3, and hopefully sometime next week. It is none other than Dr. Mark Scialdone.
Well, thank you, Jason. Appreciate the shout out for our grant. Yeah,
we're big fans of that.
Just continue our work looking at the anti-cancer property of these chemically modified cannabinoids. We're seeing really great results, and yeah, it's just really cool research that we need to continue. So today my story comes from ProPublica, and it is entitled, "We Tested Vapes in Colorado for Signs of Hemp. This is what we found." ProPublica and Denver Gazette set out to test whether claims of widespread substitution of hemp for marijuana were accurate, purchasing vapes at dispensaries across the Denver area. This is not at a smoke shop. This is buying stuff from dispensaries, and here's what they found. Leaders in the Colorado marijuana industry have complained in recent years that intoxicating products derived from hemp are endangering consumers and creating unfair competition, threatening to upend the first regulated recreational marijuana market in the United States. While labs had developed technology to distinguish between hemp and marijuana, the state has been slow to implement a random testing program to check the quality of products on dispensary shelves. In the absence of testing, the Denver Gazette and ProPublica set out to test whether or not the claims of widespread hemp substitution were accurate, purchasing 14 vapes at dispensaries across the Denver area. Hemp naturally has high levels of non-intoxicating compound CBD, but only trace amounts of THC, a chemical in marijuana that gets people high. But some manufacturers have been caught by Colorado's Marijuana Enforcement Division converting CBD from hemp into THC using solvents, a process that is currently banned in the state. Labs can detect indicators of this process by looking for versions of THC known as Delta 8 and Delta 10, which often emerge when CBD is chemically converted into THC. They can also identify residues of solvents that are typically used in the process, but not in marijuana production. 3 of the news organizations' samples had levels of Delta 8 or Delta 10 THC between 1.1 and 3.3%, which experts say was significant. They rarely show up to those levels naturally. They should show 0 Delta 8 and Delta 10 if it's natural. Anything beyond trace amounts is suspicious, says Mano Patiglio, the analytical director of Colorado Chromatography Labs. I know Monica, upstanding scientist in the field, which has done research into hemp-derived THC. Anything over 1% is insane, she noted. Anything over 1% is insane. Oh, my God. She noted after reviewing these news outlets' test results. So experts consulted with the news organizations, however, were unanimous that the results amounted to conclusive evidence that hemp-derived THC, some noted that the compounds extracted from the hemp plant can degrade into those rare cannabinoids with age and in-price processing. Samples include products from Dutch Botanicals, an Aurora manufacturer of marijuana, whose license in the state was suspended in May, pending final determination. Regulators accused the company of producing intoxicating hemp-derived THC. Two of its vape pen products tested by the news outlet were positive for Delta-8 THC. Oni Tran acknowledged that the state's allegations, but denied using hemp, and said she is fighting in the state's efforts to revoke her license. Another producer was Rockin' Extracts, a marijuana producer in Pueblo County. A vape pen showed anomalous levels of Delta-10 THC. It also contained residues of solvents that were different from those listed on the package. Solvents listed on the package? What is that all about? The company's attorney denied it used hemp additives and blamed anomalous compound on natural degradation, though the product was tested 8 months before the sell date. The oil used to make the vapes, the attorney said, was purchased from another company. Oh, go figure. One of the other companies is C2CC, a Denver-based manufacturer that does business as Bonanza. Companies Flying Hawaiian Vape. Hey, Hawaii.
Yeah.
Flying Hawaiian Vape.
Yeah.
Shout out to my buddy Hawaii in the chat.
Yes.
Flying Hawaiian Vape contained toluene. Oh my God. Hawaii, they're giving us a bad name. Toluene, a dangerous solvent that was not listed in the packaging. Oh my God. If it's dangerous, why would it be listed on the packaging? Independent chemists said that it could not be found in marijuana is indicative of hemp-derived THC, as it could be used in the conversion process. Conlon Keller, co-founder of C2CC, said the distillate was purchased from another supplier, that his company requires certificates of analysis before it buys those things to make sure that they're in compliance. So experts said findings like these could warrant further investigations into processes used to make products. They also said that the ambiguity around determining conclusively whether a product was derived partially from hemp highlights the need for more regulation. The MED, the Marijuana Enforcement Division, declined to comment on the Gazette and ProPublica's test results. Last fall, Colorado launched a pilot off-the-shelf testing program to buy products from dispensary and double-check the work of the lab. State regulators plan to collect up to 150 samples from October to December, a small fraction of the more than 1 billion marijuana products sold in the state annually. But the new program has already run into delays. Heather Draper, division spokesperson, said off-the-shelf testing program remains in its initial steps. Permanently establishing it, she said, will require increased resources with appropriate funding. Well, that's where the story ends. I'll just say that, yes, off-the-shelf testing, random testing of products should be part of any state's regulated cannabis program. Maybe JB and the doctor agree with me. I would tend to think that that should be just mandatory, that all states that have regulated cannabis programs should be doing off-the-shelf testing. What I can tell you again, and I've said it many times here on High 9, is that it's cheaper to convert CBD into THC than it is to get a cannabis license, get some genetics, hire a team, get your security, get all your background checks, get all this stuff done. By the time you get to that same molecule of THC, you'll spend 10 times the amount that these guys are. So again, there's a cost disparity there, but also just the way that this seed to sale tracking system is supposed to keep stuff from being diverted out of regulated production. Obviously, they haven't figured out the opposite, which is how to keep stuff from coming in, to seed to sale track supply chain production. So I don't know how you stop this. Again, I think what they said here too is chemical conversion to make synthetic THC from CBD is against the law in Colorado, but they're still doing it. So I think just as long as those economics make sense, as long as they can get away with it, you'll still get high off of one of these pens that has synthetic THC that might have some Delta 8 and Delta 10. It's really not so much those isomers, it's the isoisomers and other residual solvents like toluene. Come on, that's completely unacceptable. So yeah, these things do need to be more tightly regulated, but it goes to show you that it's not just at your gas station and internet site, maybe it's actually, in regulated dispensaries that are, licensed cannabis operations in Colorado. So that's my story today from Vermont. I'm sorry, guys. I got to go meet my colleague upstairs because we're going to hit submit on our grant.
Yes.
Wish me luck.
Much luck.
And,
yes, Dr. Mark. Get that, secure that bag, baby.
Tell them to keep the lights on at the NIH because they need to fund important research.
Oh, they will. They will. They will. They better pass that SAVE Act, or else there is going to be a government shutdown. But nonetheless, I wish you very much luck on this, man. And if there's anything I can do to help push it along, just know I'm here for it, Dr. Mark, all the way, every day, because your research is very, very important, especially the fact that we know that it's going to be an unbiased research. You know what I'm saying? To actually prove medical efficacy
and training
a number of
the
these
next
things.
Generation of cannabinoid scientists.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Education is key. It's a powerful tool. And so, man, first of all, I feel like we're going to have a new vape gate, especially after this story. I feel like there's going to be a new vape gate. There's going to be a whole new crisis that comes out around vapes. And I'm just waiting for it to happen. I'm like, I really think it's going to happen sometime fairly soon, especially with stories like this coming out.
No one cares.
What's that, Dr. T?
I was going to say that the cause of it is this prohibition. I mean, descheduling would solve the problem.
I totally agree with you. Yes, without a doubt, it would totally fix the problem with that. But this whole inversion thing, and I mean, at the same time too, I probably wouldn't trust any product in Colorado that's being sold in the first place. But I find it interesting that they decided to go to Colorado to test these carts, which I just find just hysterically funny. You know what I mean?
And Colorado's been legal for quite a long time, right?
Yeah,
so maybe it's just because, they're just pointing out that even in legal regulated markets, there's this problem because the producing cannabis products the non-adulterated way is cheaper, as Mark pointed out.
I'll put it to you like this, Dr. T. I've never seen a regulated product in the state of Colorado that I thought that was a quality product. Not a single one, ever.
Yeah, maybe it's just too costly to make quality products there.
And it's not the right environment to grow cannabis. It's not the right environment to dry cannabis. It's just not the ideal place. It's the best place to import stuff. That's a great market for that because there's lots of people that want to buy it. You know what I mean? But as far as producing it there, it's not a production state, and people should stop producing anything there.
Too much indoor weed there?
Their indoor weed is terrible, Dr. T. Oh my God, it's disgusting. It's like worse. It's worse than California outdoor. They're indoor.
By the way, California Farm Cut. Shout out to Farm Cut. Outdoor weed best seller at Floor Dispensary in San Francisco.
Shout out to Florida
Sounds
Dispensary.
expensive.
Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, Florida Dispensary pretty much only sells outdoor weed. They don't really sell many indoor products.
Oh, they sell tons of indoor products.
I don't know. Not according to that data you just shared, Dr. T.
Wait, do you have any of the farmer's cut? I think that's what he calls it, farmer's cut.
No, I don't personally have any of that. And, you know, like I said, I'm not
Number one seller could be making you money.
you know, just because it's selling up there doesn't mean it's going to sell down here, Dr. T. You know what I mean? You know, by the time it makes it down here, it's probably going to be all dry and brittle and cracked and not taste the same, you know.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, besides that, LA, you just want to sell them indoor Blue Dream, anyways.
Oh, they love Blue Dream, bro. They love it. They buy it up. It's number one strain in California.
They really know that they're great consumers and very educated consumers who know things.
Yeah. Fair
No,
enough.
they just need to mature. I mean, we've been teaching them up from up north for quite a while.
Yep.
No.
They'll get around to it.
Yep. And Chris Brady in the chat, he says better than no weed. And yes, I would rather have no weed than smoke Colorado weed 100% of the time, all day, every day. No problem. Happy with that. Yes. And on that, we're going to roll into our next commercial, and we are going to be right back. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Jesse. Glad you enjoyed that.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, my left one, you know? But I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. Every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade, and in a GMP certified facility. So you know you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where I'm even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Test it. It's not a name, it's a promise.
So if it's good hash, the only thing that you're separating is the cellulose.
Well, maybe.
So that means you're saying that the cellulose is higher quality.
Jesse, maybe we need to make cellulose great again then, Jesse. Maybe by your logic.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But on that, we're going to roll right into Mr. Jesse Barney, who is a master of branding at Barney Design Co. He's such a master of branding at Barney Design Co. He's even trying to gaslight me to brand me as an outdoor smoker, which will never happen. But his branding skills are unmatched. Is none other than Mr. Jesse Barney.
Oh, Jason, I would pay so much money to get Frenchie back from the other side of the grave to just take you to task and show you.
I'm here for it, bro. We've gone to task plenty of time with Frenchie.
I know that the way he would argue with you would be absolutely hilarious.
We've had the best arguments or conversations. Discussions.
I know, and I would pay to see it again because I just know how animated he would get because he knows how wrong you are, and that would be awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
So my story comes out of Arizona this morning. The state press, the headline is ASU initiative uses research to help increase cannabis safety. The Cannabis Analytics Safety and Health Initiative aims to improve cannabis safety, testing, and public understanding through research focused on science and health. The initiative has grown in recent years, including 5 faculty members from multidisciplinary backgrounds and varying research focuses. Maxwell Leung, the initiative director and professor in the School of Mathematical and Natural Sciences, said growing student interest and new research breakthroughs played a key role in the expansion of the initiative. The work that my lab has been doing has gained a lot of traction in the scientific community and also among the general public, Leung said. We discovered a new category of contaminant Fusarium mycotoxin that has not been reported in the literature in cannabis before. Thomas Cahill, an initiative member and professor in the School of Mathematical and Natural Sciences, said despite the highly toxic Fusarium mold's likely presence in cannabis plants and its potential health implications, it is not widely regulated or tested for. Cahill said his research for the initiative focuses on testing cannabis product samples for fungal toxins and pesticide residue to find gaps in safety and advocate for potential changes. Let's focus our efforts and resources to what would help the safety of cannabis use the most, Cahill said. To find limitations and issues with cannabis use and see how we can direct resources or advise testing schemes to get the most bang for the buck. Beyond laboratory testing, the initiative also studies cannabis through a broader public health lens. Madeline Meyer, an initiative member and professor in the Department of Psychology, said she is currently working on a project to understand how cannabis use is linked to health outcomes, including in mental health and cognitive function. Meyer said her research involves using health records to attempt to identify the correlations of long-term cannabis use. She added that a particular focus of the initiative is investigating cannabis hyperemesis syndrome, which causes severe vomiting and nausea following long-term use of cannabis. Well, she's going to have a hard time studying that because there's not that many people who get it. That's one interest of our group, to use this electronic health record data to try to understand who's developing cannabis hyperemesis, Meyer said. Can we identify them from their electronic records, and what are the correlates? The initiative works closely with students from pharmacology and toxicology, biological data science, and population health, but is open to any students who want to be part of the initiative, Leung said. The researchers also hold seminars to educate the general public about cannabis use. Meyer said that federal restrictions limit the scope of cannabis research despite its legality for recreational and medical use in Arizona for those older than 21. She added that cannabis's federal classification prevents researchers from bringing in or giving cannabis to anyone associated with the lab without a DEA license, slowing the research to study cannabis's long-term effects. According to Cahill, future plans for the initiative include establishing an independent testing laboratory at ASU, expanding the scope of research to psilocybin, an ingredient in magic mushrooms, and continuing to improve testing for emerging contaminants. Leung said the initiative's long-term goal is to generate research that informs healthcare providers, policymakers, and consumers as the market of cannabis expands. We hope that by building a research initiative, we can provide scientific leadership to transform the industry from unregulated use to a safe, sustainable consumer market, Leung said. Well, this is exciting to me, and as I keep saying, I think this is the direction that things are going to go, especially with Schedule 3. I think there's going to be, it's going to open up. Schedule 3 will support a program like this. It will allow a program like this to expand rapidly and radically. And that's the kind of thing that we need in cannabis to get more information and to get more understanding out there. And the more understanding that happens, for those of us who have been in the industry for a really long time and know the plant really well, we know that that understanding is just going to create a landslide of change, and that the more likely, or the more that happens, the more likely it is that we're going to actually deschedule. So I'm excited for this. This program seems really cool. I like that there's a multidisciplinary approach, lots of different scientists from different backgrounds studying the plant, and it's interesting that they found this mycotoxin fusarium, which seems to be pretty bad. And Dr. T, I'm interested to know if you've heard of this and what you think about it.
You know, I might have run across it here and there, but I don't know very much about it. And what's interesting about the toxins is you can test for the actual bug and whether it's growing on the plant, and you can test for the toxin that might be produced. If you're just testing for the bug, You might have some remediation methods that gets rid of the bug, but the toxin still remains in the product. So usually you should be testing for both. But yeah, that's those are things that we discuss with labs these days.
This definitely sounds a very troubling situation, Jesse. And what's
it's not a good toxin to discover. That's for sure.
It sounds bad. It sounds very, very bad. And I'm willing to bet that it's in a lot of products that are supposedly clean and safe for you to consume.
Yeah, I'm unaware. Hawaii says fusarium isn't new, and I assume that this, they discovered this a little while ago, not super recently. They're just saying that they're responsible for discovering it, and that this same lab is continuing to do more research. I think that was the whole thing. So what actually causes fusarium? Where does it come from? It's a mold. It's a mold. So it's a mold that it has some kind of serious toxin in it. And I imagine it's immune to bleach. I don't know anything about that.
You don't want to smoke something that's got bleach on it.
Yeah, that's not my point. But there's some things that I know that molds that live in buildings and whatnot that you can't actually just get rid of them by bleaching the walls. That was my reason for saying that actually contributes to a lot of failed test results in certain grow facilities.
Yeah, I mean, getting a moldy place, it's really hard to get rid of the mold once you've got a moldy place.
Yeah, so, I think fusarium is the one that is what I'm talking about. I'd have to text someone to ask them just to make sure 100%, but I think that actually is what it is. And mold, and it does not kill it. It can live in buildings in walls for like long periods of time, and like you can not even know that it's in there.
Well, we know about aspergillus, right?
I'm not talking about aspergillus.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. It's mold. I don't know where the fusarium mold comes from. That's a good question.
Well, I do have some good news for you guys to share that is non-related to this story. You guys.
Okay.
Would you guys like to hear it?
Sure.
Shoot.
Huge news, breaking news, breaking news. And just so you know, Chris Brady, no, it's not about Schedule 3. This is something totally different. NIH Director Jay Bhattacharya, did I say that right, Dr. T? Bhattacharya, yeah. Jay Bhattacharya just made an announcement in D.C. He's the director of the National Institutes of Health, the NIH, and he just announced that there is now a cure for sickle cell disease.
But there's been one for a month or so now.
Well, they're making the official announcement that they say this isn't just a medical breakthrough. Let's see, where does it? For millions of people, disproportionately in the Black communities, have lived with the unimaginable pain shortened by life expectancy and medical neglect. And sickle cell wasn't just a disease; it was a sentence passed down through bloodlines while the world moved slow, they said. And today, a cure means kids get to grow up, parents get to breathe, and communities get their future back. And so they're touting this. They're saying that this is like official now. So, whether or not it was around before, they made the official announcement today that there is now a cure, Dr. T. You're an insider though. So you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, okay. The official. Yeah, it's great. I mean, CRISPR technology. I mean, for those anti-vaxxers, the CRISPR technology is also what helped develop the COVID vaccines. But and it's also now solving a lot of genetic diseases. This is great news for sickle cell, which has been an issue for quite a long time. So yes. Good news.
Yes, and I have one final story for you guys. Are you ready? Because a Mississippi committee approves a right to try Cannabis Act, you guys. I think that sounds like good news too. We might just end on some good news. A proposal filed by State Representative Yee Yancey, a Republican, and approved by the Mississippi House Public Health and Human Welfare Committee would create a new pathway for patients with serious illnesses that are not currently listed under Mississippi's qualifying medical cannabis conditions to access the state's program. House Bill 1152, titled the Right to Try Medical Cannabis Act, allows a patient treating medical provider to petition the Mississippi Department of Health to authorize that patient to use medical marijuana, even if their condition is not specifically included in the list of qualifying debilitating medical conditions under current law. Under the bill, the patient must have an illness that is chronic, progressive, severely disabling, or terminal in nature, and their physician, nurse practitioner, or physician's assistant must maintain an ongoing provider-patient relationship and submit the formal petition to the department outlining the patient's diagnosis, prognosis, past treatment history, and an explanation of how medical cannabis could provide benefit. In a quote, very simply, a person who has a condition that nothing else is working to bring them any type of relief may have their practitioner, doctor, petition the health department to let this person try medical cannabis, Yancey said. The state health officer would serve as the sole decision maker of these petitions and would have 45 days to approve or deny the request. If approved, the patient would then become eligible to apply for a registry identification card under Mississippi's existing medical marijuana program and would be subject to all current rules, limits, and regulations. The measure specifies that decisions made by the state health officer would be final and could not be appealed in court, and it also gives the Department of Health authority to limit the type, form of, or volume of marijuana authorized for patients approved through this process based on public health and safety standards. Medical providers who submit petitions in good faith would be shielded from civil, criminal, and administrative liability for recommending cannabis under this process, and patients approved under the bill would also be required to undergo periodic reevaluations by their provider at least once every 12 months. The Department of Health would be required to submit an annual report to legislative leaders detailing how many petitions were received, granted, or denied, along with general categories of illnesses approved and any safety trends observed. And if enacted, the Right to Try Medical Cannabis Act would take effect on July 1st, 2026, right in time for the 4th of July, so these people can finally get some independence. And I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
You know, this reminds me of the any serious medical condition clause that was in the Prop 215.
Well, it was the clause. It was specifically worded. It said, or for anything cannabis alleviates pain and suffering. That was the sentence that you're referring to, Dr. T. That was the exact wording in there. Yes.
Yeah, but they left that up to us, to the doctors, to determine. They've got to petition somebody, you know, in wherever they, you know, it's going to cause this huge backup of requests, and they're going to be inundated with requests for other conditions, because cannabis helps so many medical conditions that they're no way going to be able to list them all. I see problems with this.
Yeah, but it's Mississippi. I mean, the fact that they're having a right to try in the first place, I think is kind of more of the crux, and it's shielding the doctors from prosecution for being able to recommend it, which I think that's really kind of like the crux of it. Yeah, I think they can probably remediate and fix some of these other nuances as they work through their process. But I think overall, with those two pieces of meat right there, doctor, is going to give patients another way to access cannabis, which I know you're in favor of, and it's going to shield doctors from any potential liabilities that they may possibly incur. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's a win-win. Am I wrong? Am I missing something?
Win-win loss for over-regulating, but yes.
Fair enough.
I'm glad that you're seeing the glass is half full.
It's been one of those kind of days for me today, Dr. T. It's been one of those kind of days. What can I say? You know what I mean?
This would be a win-win if it wasn't limited to one person to approve these petitions.
I see them swamped.
Yeah, like that's just going to be crazy. There's no way they're going to get to him. That's a problem.
You know, I think the 45-day window for approval, I think, is kind of thing. I think it should be like a 10 to 15-day window. I don't think 40. I think 45 days is too long. You know what I mean? But
I think that that's what I'm saying is they're trying to account for how many requests they're going to get, and that they're going to need 45 days to crawl through the mountain of approvals or denials that need to be given. And you have one person who's responsible for this. Doesn't the state health officer have anything else to do besides approve cannabis petitions? Like,
let the doctor do it.
yeah,
exactly that. And Dr. T, you know, it should be the doctors. If the doctor recommends it, it should be an automatic, right? Because the doctors. Why don't we trust our doc? Like, this is the hypocrisy of America. We say things like trust the science, trust the doctors, but then when it comes to something like this, we don't trust them at all. So, and we trust our legal system more. Come on. And we trust one person who's the state health officer to do this. That part's crazy. Now, on the other side, it's good that they're at least doing something. Right? Because Mississippi's been one of the hardest places to push anything forward. So, and Mississippi is, you know, what are they, 25, 30 years back in every way?
I mean.
So that part's good. At least they're talking about it.
That's great.
And they're going to see the problems, I think. Pretty quickly.
That's what I'm saying. I think they'll ultimately will get it worked out. There's some good people down there in Mississippi that are working on this, so I'm confident that they'll get this figured out. But sometimes it's about getting that foot in the door. If you want it, you know, you got to pop the can before you can pry it open. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So, you know, I think this is a good story to end on. One other good news, unrelated to this, you guys, it appears the Justice Department made an announcement that they're releasing 3 million pages of the Epstein files today, so everyone's going to have plenty of reading to do over the weekend. And on that, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. And big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst Cannabis for helping us keep the lights on, and thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. And thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day. Thank you to Cloud Media partners Elias and Gabriel. They're somewhere in the metaverse. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show.